The Lord be with you. This is a reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. At the sight of the crowds, Jesus' heart was moved with pity for them, because they were troubled and abandoned, like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, "The harvest is abundant, but the laborers are few. So ask the master of the harvest to send out laborers for his harvest." Then he summoned his 12 disciples and gave them authority over unclean spirits, to drive them out and to cure every disease and every illness. The names of the 12 apostles are these: first, Simon, called Peter, and his brother Andrew, James the son of Zebedee and his brother John, Philip and Bartholomew, Thomas and Matthew the tax collector, James the son of Alphaeus and Thaddeus, Simon from Cana, and Judas Iscariot, who betrayed him. Jesus sent out these 12 after instructing them thus: "Do not go out into pagan territory or enter a Samaritan town. Go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. As you go, make this proclamation: the kingdom of heaven is at hand. Cure the sick, raise the dead, cleanse lepers, drive out demons. Without cost you have received, without cost you are to give." This is the gospel of the Lord. So finally, we had our election this week in Nevada. As Americans, we elect, we choose the person we hope is best, who has the values, the credentials, the programs we believe are best to serve us, the people. Believe it or not, our biblical God is also an electing, choosing God. Consider all the people in Scripture that God has chosen: Abraham, Jacob, Joseph, Moses, Isaiah, Amos, David, and more. Yes, God chose Israel to be his own. In a sense, that doesn't sound altogether fair, though, for us Americans. I mean, why did God choose these guys? It's not fair to everybody else, is it? So why? First off, the God of the Bible does not choose or elect people as a reward. God doesn't choose someone because that person has special gifts. On the contrary, whenever, for example, the choosing of Israel is mentioned, in the very same breath is mentioned that Israel is not worthy. It was the smallest of nations, out of the way of everything, yet God chose it. Same with the people that God chose, often a ragtag bunch. Moses himself, abandoned as a baby, killed an Egyptian, had mood swings. Amos the prophet was a dresser of sycamore trees. King David, was a murderer and an adulterer. So when God chose someone in the Bible, it wasn't because they were special, had good-looking looks or intelligence. It was because he needed them for service and not for glory. Israel was chosen not for glory, but to serve the nations. We hear that in the first reading from Exodus. Yahweh says, "You, Israel, shall be my special possession. You shall be a kingdom of priests." How about that? You know, in ancient times, even to this Mass here today, the role of the priest was to offer sacrifice, to unite God and people together. That's what happens here in just a few moments. We will be united through the Eucharist. The ancient priests did the same in sacrifice. But when God chose Israel, he meant them as a kingdom of priests for the entire world. God didn't elect Israel because it was great, but Israel became great because it was elected. Of course, this whole system of how God elects or chooses people is the same way that Jesus worked. In our gospel, the heart of Jesus was moved because he saw the people were like sheep without a shepherd. This is the gaze of God. So then Jesus chose his 12 apostles, certainly not chosen because of their virtues. In fact, what a ragtag group this was. How about, do I even have to say it, Simon Peter, 3 times denied Jesus when Jesus needed him the most. James and John, obsessed with power and personal ambition. Simon the Zealot wanted to bring down the Roman Empire. Thomas, the doubting Thomas, had to put his finger into Jesus' side. Matthew, the tax collector, hated by all. Judas Iscariot, who eventually betrayed Jesus. These are the people Jesus chose to be his apostles. They are not chosen because they were great. They were great because they were chosen. All of which brings us to all of us here. If God can choose Abraham and David and Amos and Peter and Thomas and all the rest, God certainly can choose us. And God chooses me and you not because of my good looks or superior intelligence, but for service, just like all the rest. So then, all of us who have been baptized are not chosen because we are great, but we become great because God has chosen us for his very own service. And you know what? All of us here are in very good company.